Welcome to Blog Track. Today's episode is going to be a bit different from the usual ones. I'm not going to read the entirety. If you'd like to read it, you can go to blogtrack.net. But I will share some of my personal thoughts on the religions I wrote about. For one thing, I'm not a fan of a past life that you don't remember, having to pay for that. I think that one should be responsible if there is some sort of universal tab or something, that you shouldn't be held accountable for something you don't remember. It just seems kind of, I don't know, I don't like it. I do see the appeal in mysticism. I like the idea that there is a lot of spiritual energy out there. I prefer a more humane versus impersonal and inevitable God. I feel like if God can't relate to us, how would he be in position to judge us then if he hasn't been able to live the sort of lives that we have and understand its expectations and limitations? The universe is kind of imperfect, and I feel like that it's much more relatable to have a God that is more human than an inevitable God that he is up high but just well beyond anything that we can deal with or understand. At that point, it's like, do I really want to talk to this being that is so out there and beyond everything? Then why am I talking to him or her or they, whatever the case being? I also like the idea that love is more important than wisdom. The way we treat each other is more important than the information we gain here. I'm also a big fan of orthopraxis versus orthodoxy. I believe that actions speak louder than words. I think things are very gray as opposed to black and white, so I'm not a big fan of doctrines. I do believe in religious tolerance to a point, I guess, where everyone sort of has a different interpretation of what they think is going on, but once it starts to interfere with someone else's existence, I think that's where it goes too far. I'm wondering if there is an eternal soul with an ever-changing reality. That seems true. I trust my experience. They are beyond words. And I don't think there's one authority that can tell you what is or isn't. One thing I've noticed is there's a high amount of trinity in various beliefs. I think we might be partners in creation. God seems to be intimately involved in the workings of this world. Maybe all of this is just bedtime stories, so we stop being superficial and just get along. I think the main goal of it all is to make us more human and humane. The Tao has 10,000 gates. We must find our own. I think a lot of people fail to see the diversity in the gates and will try to tell you there's only one way. There's aspects of New Age belief I really like, but I think that it can also turn into another form of things can only work this way rigidity. I think different lenses lead to different experiences and beliefs. We must be humble enough to not think that our thoughts are God's thoughts. This feels like an attempt to explore and chart infinity. Though I may only live once, each perspective I explore opens the door to countless lives, each rich with its own wisdom and possibilities. Thank you for listening.